What goes on, everybody? I'm back for a second day in a row. Well, technically my first video went out at like 12 a.m. So back twice in one day, covering day 2 of the NBA draft. The first time the NBA draft is held on 2 days. And even though it's day 2 and we had the first overall pick of day 2, it's still the second round of the NBA draft. Myself, and I'm sure majority of people don't really pay too much attention to. But, you know, what I thought might be an uneventful day turned out to be a very interesting day for the Toronto Raptors, filled with a lot of wheeling and dealing and trades, and ended up with, instead of 1 second-round pick, 3 second-round picks, 3 other rookies to add to Jacoby Walter last night. So, come away from the draft with 4 rookies. Of course, as you guys know, I'm not a draft guy, so we could kind of research about these players together, kind of get my opinions of them. Just straight off rip, my opinions and my expectations for second round players aren't that high. But before we get into all of that for the Toronto Raptors, of course, guys, make sure to leave a like on the video, share, and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And let's start first with the trade before the draft started. Because I thought it was going to start in the night, like last night, but it started while we were at work. So that was fun, get it out the way one time. But the trade involved, me personally, I've been losing some faith in Masai and Bobby. We have some terrible trades in the last few years. But with this one trade, they brought me back. We are so back. The Toronto Raptors traded Jalen McDaniels. Literally, I think the worst player I've seen put on a Toronto Raptor uniform. Granted, I've been a fan for about 8-9 seasons. So I wasn't there for the early parts where we had really terrible players. But for a guy we spent our entire biannual exception on, for him to come in and immediately forget how to play basketball was very tough. But we traded him to the Sacramento Kings for Davion, Mitchel, Sasha, Vezenkov, and the 45th overall pick in the draft. So we get rid of him, get 2 decent role players. Davion Mitchell is a former first-round pick. And we got a second-round pick from that. Great. Excellent. We are so back. God, that just goes to show you how terrible Jalen McDaniels was. But you know why the Kings made this move? It opens up a roster spot, saves them some cap space. And for the Raptors, Davion Mitchell started off very good in his rookie season, but kind of saw his role diminish season by season after a while. As a terrific point of attack defender. I think his nickname is Off Nights, which is a pretty badass name if you ask me. But his offensive game has not developed whatsoever and recently got overtaken by, I think the guy's name is Keon Ellis in the rotation. And I believe he's undrafted, if not undrafted, a late second round pick. So not what you want to see from a lottery pick. So that's why the Kings were comfortable dealing him. Sasha Vezenkov, sorry. I think he was a European MVP, a EuroLeague MVP. Not last season, maybe the season before. Didn't have much of a role on the Kings itself. I think he was a decent 3-point shooter. But, still, I think he's about 29, somewhere around that, 28, 29. I don't expect much from him. Obviously, he could play basketball, but as we all know, European basketball and NBA basketball are 2 different things. So hopefully he could carve out a nice role, space in the floor for the Toronto Raptors. For Davion Mitchell, just be a good defender. That's what we need right now. Obviously, I would love for his offensive game to really come into his own and really develop. But, not getting my hopes up. So with the 31st overall pick in this draft, we selected Jonathan Mogbo, or Mobo. I could be pronouncing the name wrong. I do apologize. He is a forward/center from the University of San Francisco. He's from Florida. He's good friends with Scotty Barnes. I think Scotty was actually at his house, or they were together when he got drafted, when the pick was announced. So that's good. He's 6'6", no shoes on, which is, for someone you want as a wing, as a center, not really ideal, but has a ridiculous 7'2" wingspan, which is all right, sure. I'll take that. mainly going to be used as a small ball center, but still, it's pretty crazy at his season at San Francisco. 14 points, 10 boards a game. And what's very interesting, 3.6 assists per game. So he was kind of operating as like a point forward, like a Ben Simmons type. Obviously not the same defense that Ben Simmons used to provide back in the day. Hopefully what we're trying to get here, or me personally, the defense of Jakob Poeltl and the playmaking of Kelly Olynyk, if we could kind of fuse both of those into a player, hopefully Mogbo can be that guy, develop into that guy. Now we move on to the 45th overall pick, which, as I said before, we got from the trade of getting rid of Satan himself, Jalen McDaniels. So with this pick, the Raptors selected Jamal Shead from Houston, a 6'1", 6-foot point guard. Obviously, first thing off the bat, 6 foot, a little undersized as a player. So when I saw that, I'm like, not really feeling that type of pick. But I'm just looking at his accolades that he has gotten from his time. I think he's a 4-year senior at Houston. One of the most, I think, winningest players in this draft. Had a lot of success at Houston, and just the accolades he was able to rack up for a player of his size really does remind me of TJ McConnell and Jose Alvarado. And just diving into his college stats. Now, not too much of a three-point shooter. He will take them kind of average around above 3 a game for his 4 years in college. However, shot them just under 30% a clip. But I do like to see that he at least attempts them though. For his size, of course, very inefficient. Field goal percentage for the career, about 41%. But still average almost 10 points a game. 5 assists per game for his career, which is excellent. And just what you would want from a point guard. And 1.5 steals per game. You know, the backup point guard spot is up for grabs in with this season. We have Davion Mitchell, but through his few years has not shown that he could reliably be a ball handler and create plays for others. Jamal Shead slots right into that position, fighting for that backup point guard spot. Although won't be surprised if I see him in the 905 just to develop a little more how best we could utilize him on this team. And with our last second round pick, the Raptors traded for the 57th overall pick, which is the second to last pick in this draft. So we traded with Memphis, who got this from Minnesota from an earlier trade in the day. And we selected, I'm going to butcher this name, I do apologize, Ulrich Chomche. Again, apologize, I knew I'm going to butcher this name. From Cameroon, and he played with the NBA Africa Academy. Of course, it wouldn't be an NBA draft if Masai Ujiri did not pick a Cameroonian. I don't know much about him. Even Googling him, went international. He seems solid enough. He's 6'10", which is very impressive. And one thing I do like about him, he's the youngest prospect that could have been drafted this year. His birthday's on December 30th. So, he's very young, just about 18, going to be 19 at the end of the year. So definitely a very, very raw prospect with a lot of potential on the defensive side, as you would expect from a draft pick of Toronto. You want to have players, and we tend to go after players who are very strong on the defensive side. Kind of what we used to do, but especially after all these trades, we are a lot more offensively focused, and I think that's what Darko's strong suit is. So I think the front office really made it a point to, all right, let's get some dogs, let's get some defenders, so that way, we can propel the offense without giving up too much on the defensive side. Ulrich is going to go in the 905. Very raw prospect. He could pan out, he might not pan out. But yeah, picked him up. I don't know what we traded, what we gave up, in all honesty. Because I search online and we just say, we traded for the pick. So maybe it was a 2065 second round pick. Who knows? But that'll be all for the picks. Ulrich from Cameroon with the 57th overall pick. Jamal Shead from Houston with the 45th overall pick. And Jonathan Mogbo from University of San Francisco with the 31st overall pick. Bunch of young guys. More defensively focused than offensively focused. I think that's what we kind of set out to do in this draft. But yeah, that is all. I did say in my last video that I would have a scripted video out by Saturday. However, I made those before the draft. And, looking back on it, I think I may postpone it or may rewrite it because now with the draft and the trades, things have changed. With our finances, with the players available. So I think I might rework the script and have that for you guys a little later on. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful day. Let's go Raptors. Very excited for the season. Let's see what we do in free agency. You guys have a good day.